Should the voting age be lowered to 16? With the general elections taking place on May the 6th, Headliners find out what the three main political parties say on the subject, whilst two of our reporters discuss the arguments for and against changing the voting age.
Do you think the voting age should be lowered to 16, considering the other rights and responsibilities given at that age?
I think we should have a serious debate about it. I've got a really open mind. Sounds like a bit of a cop-out because I actually talk to a lot of 16 and 17-year-olds and they seem to have very mixed views about it. I have a lot of 16, 17-year-olds who say to me, yes, we should have the rights to vote. If we can fight for our country in the army, why can't we vote? Then some others also say to me, I don't feel ready, or I don't feel as though I have the necessary maturity at 16, 17. I think most 16, 17-year-olds that I know actually do have the necessary maturity. So I'm warming to that, but I think we need to have more of a debate and we need to involve more young people in that debate.
I don't feel very strongly about the level of the voting age, and my worry about reducing it to 16 is that I think the real problem is getting people who are 18 and above to vote. At the last election in 2005, the number of 18 to 24-year-olds who voted was only a third of those who were entitled to do so. And that's catastrophic, because if people don't get into the habit of voting, then they might never start voting. And that, in the end, is the death of democracy. So I think the much more important problem at the moment is to encourage people aged 18 and above who can vote actually to exercise this right that people fought and died for in previous generations. It's really important, the freedom to vote, and people really should exercise it.
I'm strongly in favour of votes at 16, and I think in years to come, if you read the debates in here of decades gone by about giving women the vote, my goodness, there was people standing up saying, if we give women the vote, it will be the end of the empire, the end of civilization as we know it. And many of the same kind of voices are raised today saying, we can't allow these 16-year-olds to have the vote, to have a say. Well, if they're good enough to put on a uniform, they're good enough to get married, they're good enough to become parents, surely to goodness they're good enough to vote and decide whether or not I should be a representative in the parliament of the country.
I agree that the voting age should be lowered to 16 for various reasons. So my first point is that young people have so many rights at 16. They have the right to be able to join the army, or to get married, or to have sex, or to even leave home. So if young people have those rights, why don't they have the right to vote at the age of 16? It will bridge the gap between adults and young people, because they will share the same responsibilities and have the same amount of power. Therefore, they will be able to work together in the future. My third point is that it will challenge the negative stereotype that young people currently have in the press and in the media, because the government will not want to alienate his or her young voters, and therefore people will have to think carefully about labelling or stereotyping young people. My final and most important point is that it would give young people a voice. It would give young people the opportunity to have influence on issues that affect them on a national and local level. That is why the voting age should be lowered to 16.
There are several reasons why I think the voting age should stay at 18. The common argument is that people aged 16 should be allowed to vote, given the other rights and responsibilities at this age. However, the legal driving age is 17, the smoking age has been raised to 18, and the school leaving age has been raised to 18. Bearing this in mind, why should voting age be reduced? And how many young people are politically aware? Even if the voting age was lowered to 16, education would be needed. To give politically ignorant young people the vote that could be exploited by extremist parties would be unwise. And how many 16-year-olds actually want to vote? If a select few are trying to make changes, then it's not representative of all young people. Basically, I think voting age should remain at 18. If voting age should be lowered to 16, changes in education and citizenship in schools are necessary to accommodate this change.
Do you think the voting age should be lowered to 16? Share your views at www.headliners.org.